Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
All right, and welcome. It's the opening series here for the Hainan Masters Spring Invitational EU closed qualifiers. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but I got through it, and we're here. Me, Mo Farah, ready to give you some Dota, get you that fixin' while we're in between the minor and the major. And best of 3 series started off between Team Moriarty, a JDL staple team, I feel like, back in the day against Chicken Fighters. And is that the logo that Nomad made for them?
I think it is, yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's actually quite good. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I really like it. And, well, it's two, I would say, newer teams or newer stacks. We've been seeing a lot of shifting in EU. And we've come out with these two squads, Chicken Fighters, with Seneko, Supreme, Saberlight, Charlie, and Milan. And then Moriarty is going to be Khan, Edzantic, Illusionist, Storo, and Flash.
You see, I have a problem now, Beacop, because Edzantic's playing for Team Moriarty. How do I not be biased? Because it's just a UK player, right? So I have to want them to win. Because we don't have many players, you see. So when they do turn up, it's difficult, you know? How am I supposed to remain non-biased?
Did you put your paycheck on an IP in the minor?
No. No, I did not.
Okay. Well, now I'm looking at the Wikipedia and looking at Moriarty. It's Storo, who is on there, but Melees, who's not on there, who's playing, and it looks like Illusionist isn't on there?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's in that weird period, right, where just after Christmas, where teams are having a bit of a swap around, like it's during the minor major, so all these like tier 2, tier 3 teams are like just shuffling things up a bit and trying different things before the next set of qualifiers come around. So it's difficult to keep up on Wikipedia when, you know, the players are the only ones that really know who's playing for who at the moment. I think you just have to wait and see who plays, basically.
And then figure it out as we go, which I'm okay with. That's always fine with me.
Yeah,
But we were talking about drafts earlier, not live, but we were talking between ourselves while we were waiting for this game to go live about how it seems like you're either doing a drought lineup or you're playing Slark. And well, Sork gets banned. You've got Magnus and Disruptor here for Chicken Fighters, Rubik and Wisp for Moriarty. So what's really left here that looks like it's got a bit of potential for both sides? Like, is Drow still a pickup potentially here for Moriarty?
I mean, I think Drow's always an okay pickup for both teams, depending. But I really like this team fight that Chicken Fighters just pick up with their first two, right? Like, they have a little bit of flex in mag as well. We've seen it anywhere from 1 to 3. Mainly, like, mid and carry, but I really like this Disruptor hero at the moment as well. Like, it's super strong, offers you so much catch. You know, a lot of team fight. It's really strong in lane as well. I mean, in the minor, the panelists were talking a lot about the idea of turning mana into damage in the laning stage. And Thunderstrike does 180 magic damage at level 1. So, pretty crazy to play against.
Yeah, Disruptor is good in lane and then good for those pickoffs, good for those team fights as well. And there's that puck. A lot of team fight here for Chicken Fighters in just, you know, even if you land like a kinetic field or an RP into a static storm kinetic field, but now you've got the option of the Dream Coil. It looks like as well, you know, this lineup still stays pretty versatile in the fact that Puck could go 4, Puck could go mid, Magnus could go mid, he could go 3. Hell, I mean, you could put the Magnus 1 if you really wanted to go that direction as well.
Disruptor 1. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, if there's any tournament to just kind of play around, it might be this one.
I want to talk about the Underlord ban as well here. I mean, this Tio's been starting to get a little bit more players well, but it's also really good against PL, which you're asking which carries might be viable coming into this second stage. I think Underlord kind of makes that PL's game really hard, so I think Moriarty have to be wary of that, especially when there's an Empower as well, right? Like, it makes the PL's game a little bit easier. Open farm. I wonder what carry they want to play with the Wisp, though, right? Because we used to see things like Gyro, Tiny, but the Tiny's been banned. Gyro's pretty bad at the moment. They got Omni. Okay. I'm surprised they didn't take the Abaddon instead. I feel like it's a decent game for it. It's really good against Magnus as well.
Who do you think is the better of the two in the off-lane, Omni or Abaddon, or is it really just super dependent on the rest of your team?
Yeah, I think it depends on the game, but I mean they're both. The Purge being available for both of them makes it really strong. I think Omni's are better in certain lane matchups, but ooh.
And this Beastmaster could be 4 still.
Interesting. They have like really good team fight now, and they can also just take objectives really well with this Beastmaster now. Like if they win a team fight, you can just mow down these towers all of a sudden. They have the Purge available in Heavenly Grace to take off the Roar though, which is interesting. But it also gives them really good vision. So like when you're playing this Disruptor, right, you want this deep vision to be able to get these glimpses back. So all of a sudden the Hawks are coming out from the Beastmaster. So when you have this really good team fight kind of lineup, you want to make sure you're taking the right fights, which Beastmaster does help them with.
You got a good amount of mobility too with the puck, and I would say the Magnus, if he gets a blink dagger, or even has maybe an axe coming out, so skewer his movement, illusory orb his movement. Like you have a lot here to really just get on top of Chicken fighters, and like we've been saying, they have great team fighting. Now they do pick the Drow for Team Moriarty. I kind of didn't think it was gonna come out after that Omni pick, but I'll take the prediction correction.
I mean, the problem I see for their draft at the moment is that they have to be playing on the front foot all the time, right? This Team Moriarty side. Because if they start to get pressured a little bit, all of a sudden, this Disruptor and Puck can start to play a bit aggressive. They have a lot of catch. They've got a good team fight. They've got Glimpse, Raw, Coil. There's so much going on for them. But I feel like Drow has to be playing on the front foot as a hero at the moment. Otherwise, it just feels really weak.
We've seen Drow lineups just fall apart, where if you don't have that early lead, what do you have going for you?
It either looks like really good or really bad. I feel like there's hardly any in between on that hero.
So they banned the Kunkka, but TA's already banned. I usually see a Kunkka ban and immediately think you're going to a TA, but TA was in that first phase ban here from Moriarty. I
like that Team Moriarty have this kind of like double save thing going on though, right? Where they have like the Heavenly Grace and the Purification, they've got the Relocate and the Wisp heals coming through as well. So it's difficult to try and bring down like one target.
Viper's still available. I'm surprised he's made it this late into the draft.
Yeah, it's not as popular as it was before. You can't like just first pick that hero anymore, I don't think. But it's still okay in like certain situations, most of the time, I guess.
Do you think he fits here with either squad? I feel like he could definitely work out for both teams.
I think something like an OD might be okay here for Moriarty. They have the double save, right? And they need some kind of like... You can't be reliant on this Drow to carry the game in like a single core lineup. So yeah, I think you want something that scales a little bit better. Maybe like an SF might be okay as well. But I mean, the Chicken fighters, they could go for it, but I think they want something that scales a little bit better.
Definitely see some potential chemistry combos here for Chicken fighters, having the Dream Coil, with a skewer to pop it. And there's that Shadow Fiend you were talking about. I just feel like you might be a little bit susceptible to that. Like where a Dream Coil comes out and all of a sudden you're pushed out of the coil, it snaps, and you just get blown up. And Clink's coming in. Something I haven't seen too much of. And, Viper gets ignored, but you've got this Clinks. You like this last pick of the Clinks?
Oh, I mean, it's Supreme's playing the Clinks as well, which is the mid player, right? So they're putting the Clinks up against the SF, I would assume. Unless they're just swapping up their lanes a little bit. Clinks, it's one of these heroes that I don't fully understand yet. Like, I've been watching games of him trying to understand how and why he's good in certain situations. But I'm not completely sold on him still. I'd like to be proven wrong. But I like their draft overall, Chicken fighters, a little bit better. Like I said, I think Moriarty have to be winning their lanes, and I don't think they can with the heroes that they have. I mean, like, Rubik Omni Knight's a decent lane, right? But, I mean, Mag should be fine. And Seneca's playing the puck. Interesting. So I wonder if it's Milan or Seneca playing position 5. Because you would assume it's Seneca, right?
Yeah, interesting that they... I mean, puck 5... Both those heroes in a support role, you'd like to have them get a little bit of farm, especially the Disruptor, where you're like, you want that Ags. you want to, because we usually see like Philosopher's Stone go on the Disruptor, so he's trying to get priority on that farm between the two supports. So it's interesting that maybe they're just relying on a Dream Coil here from the Puck as well as just that silence.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see how these lanes go more than anything at the moment.
Prepare for battle.
So just weird to see Puck maybe in a 5, but we'll see if it works. The Clinks, I have a feeling if he gets off to a good start, Moriarty could be in for some trouble where both the Rubik and the Wisp get ripped through by this Clinks.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of control on this Radiant side, right? Like, it's only really this lift that they have available for them. Yeah, Gust is okay, I guess, but it's not, like, good lockdown. So, imagine you're in a fight, right, where everybody runs at each other. Like, who is the Rubik controlling in a fight? Like, if you don't control the Puck, he has a pretty free game. Like, that's their only lockdown for this really mobile hero, right? And that's not even dealing with the 3 cores.
Yeah, they have one bit of catch for some pretty mobile heroes, and I just think that it's not going to be enough. We were talking about the Hawk combo, getting that vision for the glimpse. I think there's a lot here. Like, Rubik could be in a position where he's going to be left behind in terms of levels and farm where, if Clinks has a good game, what's this Rubik going to get? The supports are just going to get blown up, and then I feel like you're just going to fall behind altogether.
Did you see the Beastmaster's items there, by the way?
No, I didn't catch it.
He started with 2 shared tangos and a belt of giant strength and a quelling blade. So they are like very much only on just rushing this Necrobook, I think. Which is really interesting. I haven't seen anybody do this before.
I want to see how his progression goes. Beastmaster there with the Disruptor, Clinks over mid, and then Magnus with Puck for the side of the Dire, and then Rubik, Omni in the off lane for the Radiant, obviously the SF mid, and Wisp Drow in the safe lane. So, any matches or matchups really standing out to you in these lanes?
The one that I think is interesting. Oh, Supreme.
Yes.
There's no way he goes for this, right?
Under the tower, Xantic puts himself in a pretty bad spot getting hit and misses the raise. I wonder if Supreme just walked to the high ground, if he might have been able to get the kill, but if he puts himself under the tower...
I feel like Ad's just pushed a little bit too hard there. Like, I think he should have been happy with the damage he got on the Clinks. Now all of a sudden he has to, like, burn regen of his own that he wouldn't have had to before just by tanking all those tower shots.
And immediately we see Milan just going with a Thunder Strike, putting some damage there onto the Wisp, wanting to, force him to use as much regen as possible and have that lane not be as sustainable this early on.
Yeah, this top lane is interesting though, right? Because this Rubik Omni is normally a really good lane, and you want to pressure this carry hard, but Mike's one of those kind of heroes that doesn't really care, right? Like, he just farms, they're just going to trade farm, everything's pretty chill. And the Puck should never really die.
Yeah, especially lose your orb, just get out of there. The telekinesis early levels isn't going to be enough control for them to get a kill in this lane, in my opinion. Because what is it, level 1? It's like less than a second, isn't it?
It's like 1.25, I think. I'm not 100% sure there, but I've played enough Rubik games, I should probably know. But let's
Sam, I've been spamming that hero.
It's super fun.
Well, everybody in my bracket automatically picks a Pudge, so I'm just like, I want a hook too. I'm down.
Oh, no, that happens in all levels, so I wouldn't worry.
Okay.
It doesn't get any better.
So, early, just a little bit of harassment here on a Saberlight. But again, like, how do you deal with going after these heroes over bottom? Like, normally you'll see, like, Frost Arrows, then you'll get something in terms of a stun to control these heroes a little bit more. But I don't think you can chase with just Frost Arrows, especially if Glimpse is available. You'll just be sent back, and you should be able to survive in the Dire.
It's not easy. I am a little bit worried for them still on this Radiant side, especially in this bot lane, right? That their lane hasn't really had this great start. You've only got 5 CS on your draw in almost 3 minutes into the game. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, I feel like if there's anything that's going to happen in terms of a kill for the Radiant, it comes over mid where 3 raises hit, because we saw the amount of damage it did to the Clinks, and I mean, potentially we see that again.
Good attempt by Milan to deny the Hawk, but did not happen. God, multi-shot is such a ridiculous ability, by the way.
Yeah. It seems so strong. And now all of a sudden, I think the Drow just dies here for first blood. Tries to stand and bang and...
He got the ball worth.
Is it?
Oh dear. Go on, Milan.
Get that
Chase
courier.
it.
Oh, there it is. I was just about to comment how I always try to get couriers, and I feel like I'm just one step behind of getting them. And well, I thought that was going to happen there, but he does get the courier, all right? Which makes that lane even worse for the Drow. I think that was Drow's courier. So I mean, this lane is already so far behind, and we were talking about in the draft, reiterating the point that it's going to be hard for this Radiant team to come back from behind.
He's actually really close to net group book already. If you look at he has like 1,100 gold on the Beastmaster. He's really close. Oh. Come on, Clinks is a squishy boy in these early levels. These razors do hurt him early on.
Oh, one more shot. Oh. Oh!
He gets him. See, this is the UK players I know, dude. They're just, how do you beat them?
Did Zantic play WESG? I feel like I ask that about every UK player because that one time I got to cover the UK team.
I'm pretty sure he didn't. We don't get our own qualifiers anymore.
Ooh,
which is very
those
sad.
are the days. My friends used to try to qualify in those multi-shot. Not enough. Milan able to just skirt away, and the Beastmaster walks all the way back to lane. So at least that opens it up a bit here for the Drow, who's now 16-5 compared to the 6 last hits we saw at minute 3.
Yeah, this Beastmaster, because of the early greedy item build, he went with only the 2 shared tangos. He's had to go back to base really early, which is going to allow this Drow to just catch up in the laning stage from when she fell behind before. And it's a bit of a problem. You know, we talked about needing to pressure the Drow early on. Oh, he went for 2 points in Degenerate. Okay.
Which is interesting because I feel like you'll see like one in I think it's the value point in Heavenly Grace, and then you max the other 2 with of course
you
Guardian
normally
Angel.
go like. I thought you normally went 4-1-1 and then got the second point in Degenerate, but I guess it just depends. Like when you're in this lane where you can offer a little bit more chase potential, just hit the mag a couple more times. You don't really need the Heavenly Grace, right? So they don't really have any aggressive potential on this mag puck early on.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
That is the worst thing about lane against puck, by the way. When you like bring your courier out and it's really slow, you just see him orb forwards, and you're like, well, never mind. I didn't want my courier anyway.
I don't want my items for the next couple minutes. Who cares? Seems like Radiant have done a pretty good job of kind of helping this lane stabilize, at least over bottom. But here comes Supreme. 2 shots. Flash looks over. Khan, they're going to give chase. They've got the kill easily. Saberlight survives the multi-shot. They also rotate down the Rubik. And Chicken Fighters, like I said, the Clinks might be able to just start to dominate this game with a good enough mid lane. And despite the death, comes over bottom, helps get 2.
I mean, it's a really good timing on the rotation as well, right? Because if you look at the clock, you know, it hits this 6-minute mark where the wards are starting to disappear. And Radiant don't have any vision on the map at the moment, right? So they don't like see anything apart from this mid ward. So they know that the Clink's left the lane, but they don't know if he got any active runes or what runes he got, or where he's heading. You want to be getting those wards down relatively quickly when it comes round, but they're so focused on their lanes at the moment. You know, this rotation pretty easy to pull off.
Oh, Saberlight. See if he can survive through this. Storo ends up dead. Saberlight will be traded out. Khan at least gets the kill there.
I'm pretty sure that glimpse just pulled the wisp out of XP range. Oh my goodness.
Whew.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Khan almost dying there. Royal Jelly picked up here for the Shadow Fiend, and Fortitude only less than 1,000 net worth lead here for Chicken Fighters, despite I feel like kind of doing a little bit more here early on. And Milan, kinetic field, telekinesis, multi-shot. They just get a kill here on the Disruptor. I'm not certain what he was trying to do, thinking that he could kill the Drow, maybe?
Yeah, that was really odd. what he was trying to achieve there. He just definitely didn't have enough damage.
But they forced the Rubik over bottom, but actually, I don't know if it's really a force. I think Melee's is fine here. He's not going to die, so why keep the Rubik up top? You get solo experience for Melee, so you bring Rubik over bottom. Your kill potential gets better with that telekinesis and the frost arrows to chase. I think the lane actually looks better with Rubik down here as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Omni doesn't need any help now. Like, he's happy just to pressure this lane by himself. Like, they're going to give the puck the lane, be a little bit more greedy on the Dire side so that they can just put the mag in the jungle. Now, he farms so quickly anyway with this Empower that they are getting away with being a little bit more greedy. Oh, I wonder if this rotation works.
So Supreme coming over, Sentry Ward is down, and they'll have the Observer, so they do spot Supreme coming over. Saberlight, Primal Roar, and they're going to rotate immediately to try and help. Khan ends up getting low and dies. Xantic has a double damage, but is it going to be enough now without the Drow? I don't even think they want to engage afterwards. Xantic's sitting pretty low, and, well, they get the kill on the Drow, and that's it. But although Supreme, they don't have any catch.
I mean, all you're doing there is just giving away that you have a sentry, right? Like, what's the... I don't know what that was about.
And he's still looking to find somebody. I don't think the Shadow Fiend is potentially the target there, but now you found the Rubik. You've got that early medallion, the minus armor with the shots coming in. No way you get out of that one, and he's onto an early dominating streak. RP used on the Drow, but misses the skewer. Oh, Charlie, that is immediately a problem because now the multi-shot comes in. Again, they don't have the catch to stop the TP. And, well, that was kind of ugly.
Dude, where was their Rubik lift to stop the TP? The only stun they have. I feel like that's going to be a big problem this game, and you're going to see it a lot more.
Khan might just die here still anyway because they're going to be able to glimpse him back. They'll go for Flash to start this off. They've got themselves the Dream Coil as well as the Static Storm on a 2. So they get themselves at least one. Drow at least trying to get the kill to the Disruptor, but he won't be able to find it. The stolen Dream Coil comes in. Phase Shift, Illusory Orb. Puck trying to leave.
He can't jump away because
just
he was under the coil.
Yeah, he would have ended up just dying, but now they've got two heroes near low, and they'll get the raised hit on Seneko, the Purification over Milan. They'll get themselves two. Supreme ends up running.
I'll get the Courier Supreme. Go on.
It's a trade.
You gotta go for this.
Oh,
no!
now you give yourself away.
He's fine.
Astero isn't quick enough. Oh, relocate. And the Sentry, and the Dust.
I mean, that hero is so quick though. Like you're not catching him. And we talked about their lack of catch on their heroes as well. It's not easy. And in the meantime, Beastmaster just takes bot tier 1 because he has a Necro book and got it at like 7 minutes into the game.
Have we seen anybody do that before? Just kind of rush the Necro book like that?
Oh yeah, we've seen people rush it, but not that early because he got this bout of giant strength.
Jeez. Good rotations there from Chicken Fighters.
Yeah, I feel like they should have seen that coming as well. Like Beastmaster was bot. All of a sudden, you don't see him on the map anymore. You know, he's probably going to be walking towards that mid lane.
So immediately they smoke and they want to try to continue to put this pressure on. They look over towards bottom. They've got the Magnus here who's continuing to farm. Sits third on the net worth, but again has that Empower, so will eventually get towards the top, if not at it.
Yeah, and this mag going into the jungle relatively early on means this puck's net worth is pretty high on the, in terms of support net worth as well. He's having a pretty good time.
Charlie looking over. They've got Milan, so they do have the ability to get the glimpse over with the kinetic field. They'll commit the Static Storm to this. The question is, do they have the damage to get the kill onto the Omni Knight? They have the Shockwave. They'll use the RP. And now coming over is the Wisp. Dream Coil comes in, and he relocated into this, and he ends up dead. So 2 kills there for the side of Chicken Fighters, and a quick pause from the Rubik after they lose both those heroes.
Yeah, I mean, you ask if he has the damage to kill the Omni, but he put 4 points in Thunderstrike on Milan. on the Disruptor. So they do have a lot of damage coming through just from that Disruptor himself. I can't remember how much damage it does exactly. Let me check. So it's 480 damage. I mean, magic damage in a level 4 skill is pretty bonkers. I'm pretty sure that's going to get changed next patch, the Disruptor Thunderstrike. I'd be very surprised if it carried on doing the same amount of damage it does at the moment. Or like at least increase the mana cost a little bit or something.
Seems like such a good harassment ability and damage later on. Like it's Disruptor feels like one of the best supports in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to see a lot of Disruptors at the moment, a lot of Liches.
Although, do you think Lich is as good as the Disruptor, or is it just, you can't really say because it's completely just two different...
Depends. I mean, the hero's still always really, like, decent, right, at the Lich. Like, Frost Shield in itself, just with the innate ability to reduce physical damage, is always really strong. Like, you used to see people pick the Lich up a lot when the other team picked up Avenge in, like, their opening 2. Because you knew that they were going to want to be using that Venge to play around armor, you know, physical damage. But Lich just becoming a little bit more popular with the ability to, like Disruptor, just trade mana for damage in the learning stage. Like the effect, you have like 2 nuke spells in the Shield and the Nova, and then just a catch as your third. It's pretty crazy.
Nobody's disconnected at the moment. They still have the stolen Dream Coil. See if they try to fight with that.
Yeah, he doesn't have it for too much longer, though. If you look at the icon just above, you can see how long it has left.
Yeah, not too
and at level 1 it is 3 minutes, so
about
probably got it for
40
about
seconds?
Yeah, probably a little bit less.
Not sure if that really gives them enough time to really set something up. I feel like in the middle of a fight, you might just lose it.
They have the coil to try and stop this here. Which might be the use. Yeah, and you see the SFT ping him. Yeah, okay, this is good.
Yeah, there's the Dream Coil Telekinesis. They might be able to get this kill, and should be, with the Drow also being here. But losing Rubik for that definitely does not feel as good.
I feel like he really should have used the lift to break the coil there, rather than use it to throw him back towards the SF.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
With that rotation, with those heavy rotations, they have 4 heroes go over towards top. And they lose the mid-tier 1 tower, and it just feels like something we said with the Drow, where it's hard to play this hero on the back foot. It feels like they've been on the back foot the entire game.
My problem for them now at the moment is on the Radiant side. Like, when do they expect to try and win the game? Like, at what point are they stronger than the Dire side? And I just don't know what the answer is. Yeah, if they can get good pickoffs with, like, relocates, you know, with the lift setups and whatnot, then yeah, maybe, but it just feels like they have just such good team fight on this Dire side that if they ever run into each other in a 5-on-5 scenario, like, as long as the Omni Knight's controlled, in, like, with either the coil or the Roar or whatnot, I don't really see how the Radiant side ever win a fight.
Feels like, too, if you lose a fight on the Radiant, then the Dire's just got this ability to push down your towers and take objectives at a pretty, you know, decent speed. Where every fight you lose is going to be really costly.
Oh, top lane as well. They're going on the Omni.
That's 3 in the Heavenly Grace. Has gone 4-3-2 so far without the Guardian Angel picked up just yet. They'll look to take the outpost, and immediately coming over with a relocate is going to be the Shadow Fiend. Dreamcoil gets placed down as well as the Primal Roar, and they're out.
This is what I mean. Like, how do they, like, ever kill people? Like, they have lift, but if the lift isn't there, they just run away.
Relocate pulls them back, so now I wonder... yeah, they've got the RP. They'll look for this Wisp. Requiem comes through, but they've got the Static Storm as well as the Kinetic Field. They'll look for the damage on Adzantic, but they don't have it just yet. Now on the high ground, they'll try to turn this around. They've got the Telekinesis, throw him out of the Stolen Dream Coil, and Supreme, he ends up dead. That's the catch that we were hoping that they get, but it only gets them the Clinks, and now it gets them the Puck with a good raise there from Adzantic. That's a good fight there from the Radiant that really cuts into the net worth of Chicken fighters, and seems like their first victory of the game.
Yeah, not the 5-on-5 that Chicken Fighters were looking for. You know, the fight kind of splits up a little bit, and like you have the Mag and Puck on one side. You know, the Clinks is kind of by himself a little bit, and if they allow themselves to get picked off one by one, they do have decent pick-off potential.
Can they take this Roche quickly enough? They've got Clinks back up in 6 seconds. They'll be able to rotate over. They don't have the Static Storm or the RP to go with, but they do have a Dream Coil to start things up, and Clink's going to TP in afterwards. I think that's going to take too long. Gus comes in, silences him up, and yeah, he's not here. So they get the Aegis on Adzantic, and damage coming through onto this Shadow Fiend, but it's not going to be nearly enough to really feel like he's uncomfortable, especially with himself tethered to the Wisp.
This is interesting now because the game completely changes because of that Aegis, right? Like, you have this SF now that can kind of just stand at the front of fights with this Aegis, and they have these 2 save heroes behind him. So as long as the SF can position himself between his team and the enemy team, it's going to be really difficult for the Dire to try and make their moves. They have to get on the back lines. Wow.
God, just blown up right there.
Where did he go? And I was going to say, it's up to the Dire to try and find a way to get onto this backline here and deal with the other heroes before they go on the SF. Like, this Wisp has to die. You know, the Rubik has to die really as well.
And they're going to come around on Meleis as well as Storo, but they still have the Dream Coil. He tries to snap the Dream Coil with the Telekinesis. Primal Roar comes in as well as the Illusory Orb. They've got the Waning Rift. They'll get the kill there onto Storo. Flash ends up dying as they were relocating in. I believe the Disruptor was there with the Clinks over by their shrine. They'll get Meleis on top of it all, and that's 3 heroes gone. I don't think it showed up on our camera, but over by their shrine, they were trying to relocate in, and they got caught out.
Okay. I'm really surprised they weren't just trying to... Like, I feel like the Radiant, they have this Roche, right? Like, just run around as 5 and use this SF Aegis to your advantage, but... Yeah. Chicken Fire's doing a really good job of just picking off stragglers.
Coming around, using their control.
It kind of sucks for them, though, right? That they really want to be able to have this Aegis for themselves to, like, push the tempo on this Dire side. And without it, they're kind of, like, stuck in this place where, yeah, we can take fights, but it's a little bit difficult now because of this SF Aegis being up.
Oh, my God. Wisp. Dust comes in. They've got the Telekinesis as well as the Silence, so now he's going to need to start to run. The Frost Arrows come in. Supreme getting slowed up by himself. He thought he could make a move there. Still tries to turn around and go for Flash and ends up getting caught out as everybody's here for the side of the Radiant. And while Moriarty do a good job of taking out the Clinks, however, when you've got all those heroes there, it opens up the map for the rest of the team.
Yeah, someone's going to have to come down here and try and deal with the bot tower, though. You know, if not, this Beastmaster does just take it so quickly with the aura.
So, both Seneko and Milan are building into Ags.
Yeah, I think that's fine, though, right? Like, you want to get this... When you play Puck support, you want to get the Ags relatively early on in your item build. Just because by the time you get it on this support Puck, you know, they kind of have BKBs by that point anyway. Otherwise, you know, you're kind of left in this point where if you wait to get the Ags later on the Puck, you know, they build the BKBs and all of a sudden you're a pretty useless hero in team fights. You know, your coil doesn't really do anything unless you have the Ags for yourself.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Building into the Daedalus, pushing over towards top. Really, it feels like we've only felt the strengths of the Shadow Fiend. The rest of the team has just kind of come along for the ride.
I mean, it's not a 4 protect 1 kind of draft, but it's like everything empowers the SF, right? Like they have Drow Aura, they have the Wisp, they have the Omni.
Well, they need to get back because they're losing their bottom lane, and they're going to relocate into this over towards bottom. Let's see what they're able to get. The Primal Roar, oh, charged up, but there is the Manta. Now they'll finally get the Primal Roar out. Saberblade trying to run the Heavenly Grace with that status resistance makes that Primal Roar last for a split second. Sturo over top, ends up dead. Skewer comes in, snapping the Dream Coil. They get themselves a second. Back over towards top. Omni-Knight ends up dead bottom. And yes, they do get this Puck, but bottom's going to be pressured again. They lost the tier 3. Now the racks are next. You relocated out. How do you get back here? Do you have a TP? Oh, TP's going to get stopped. Oh, boy.
Ads has no TP.
And they're just going to look for more. What? They've got
So the
flash.
game's over. Oh dear. That is such a catastrophic turn of events. And I love how it took them so long to try and kill the Omni bot as well, right? Just because they have no stuns. Like, the Rubik's not there, so he just runs away. And he's like, see you later, guys. Sorry, kill the Beastmaster bot is what I meant to say. Like, they just can't catch him.
Oh my
And all of a
god.
sudden the click stands up and they turn. Oh.
You hate to see it, but you know, it's where we're at. Aegis ends up expiring, and there's a quick pause coming out from Milan. Just, it really seems very much like there's a lack of coordination right now for Moriarty.
I mean, the thing is, right, that when you play these Wisp kind of lineups, you expect to be the ones that are like controlling the split push, right? Like, you tend to have these heroes like Bane, used to get picked up all the time with Wisp, like Centaur, Batrider, that they kind of play the map by themselves and they push lanes out. And they set up kills for the relocate to come in. So, like, when people like Beastmaster are playing this kind of split push Dota, it's really easy to punish, right? But the heroes that they have, they've only got this Rubik that can set up for the relocate, like, reliably. You know, Omni can run at people and try to slow them down, but it doesn't really do the same thing, does it? And they're kind of just getting torn all over the map at the moment and just, you know, pushed around. They have the glimpse from the Disruptor, making it really annoying for them. And that's just not the way you expect the Wisp lineups to go.
Here we go, back at it again. With the white vans. And it just feels like I don't know how Moriarty kind of especially come back from that mistake, but again, it seems like you're relying on the damage output of this Shadow Fiend. I don't know if that's going to be nearly enough, again, with the lack of catch. How many times can we reiterate the fact that they just don't have the catch for this game?
I mean, I think they've just learned that they can just ignore well, not ignore the SF, but like just go on everybody else first, right? And all of a sudden the SF just doesn't have anybody backing him up anymore. And then he's, you know, not really that scary afterwards. Like, everybody else is just so squishy at the moment. Especially this Drow. She just melts so quickly.
So, Chicken Fighters smoked up.
Jeez, Seneca's level 14.
Oh, it's Xantic. He's going to be in trouble. Dreamcoil comes out onto 2, and now they've got the Waning Rift, so the silence comes down onto multiple heroes, but
Nice
the silence
dust.
from Khan, that hits 3. Now they've got the tether over. It looks like it's going to be a problem here for Saberlight, who gets caught out. The Primal Roar comes in into the Drow Ranger. They'll get the kill onto the Beastmaster, and the smoke goes wrong for Chicken Fighters.
Should they have relocate?
Just
they
seems
don't
like
wanna
a lack of commitment, maybe, from Chicken Fighters, especially once that Gust came in.
It's really... Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult though, right? Like, you want to have this Aegis so that you can run in on your front line. Like, who commits on the dire side, right? Because whoever goes in first does struggle. Like, they have nobody that can just front line for them. Like, this Mag, yeah, maybe kind of, but you don't really ever want to initiate a Mag, right? Like, you want to be the one that follows up. So you're kind of reliant on this Beastmaster going in, and like you say, a really good gust from the Drow.
Hitting
Just
3
breaks
heroes
up.
there. Just, it stops, like, maybe a Skewer and an RP from coming in. They do the Blink Dagger. I'm surprised that Dreamcoil wasn't immediately followed up by a Blink RP. Because the Gust wasn't exactly immediate following the Dreamcoil, but it was there enough to hit, you know, heroes walking in.
They just need to wait to find the right opening here on Chicken Fighters. I don't think they should try and force a bad fight just to try and take a fight, if that makes sense. Like, you know, all of a sudden, we saw them try and do that before. You know, the SF just turns around and kills all of them. You do have to be careful still. You know, respect the damage that comes out from him. Just try and wait to play around that second Roche if you can, I think.
And we saw them try to force a fight earlier in the game, and that was like the one fight that Moriarty won when it got split up by Chicken Fighters, and they just didn't have everything go together.
I'm surprised this Clinks isn't building a BKB though, is my biggest thing. Like, he's going for this Nullifier, which is obviously really good against the Omni Knight. it's their only way of really dealing with the GA. But in these, I guess it's not a great BKB game. It helps against the SF, helps against the Rubik control, but
Roche up in about 15 seconds. If I had to give a guess, probably a guess too high right there because it's up right now.
SF has Daedalus actually. He hits hard.
Hey, it's hard. It's just the rest of the team, doesn't exactly have much. Especially with that double damage when you can just take it. It's got to be a couple. It feels like they've gotten a...
There's been quite a few. There's an enchanted quiver, by the way, on this Radiant side now as well. Really good item for them with the Drow and the SF. Oh my god.
Is it a good item if you're just going to lose your buildings here? At some point, you're going to have to respond.
I mean, they just didn't respect the damage that could come through so quickly. Well, look, they just run away because what did the Radiant side do?
Miris, he's going to be wrapped around on by the Clink, so I'd like to look over at that. RP on a 2. Now you've got the Static Storm. BKB is going to be popped here by the Magnus. They've got the kill on the Flash as well as the Xantic. The Primal Roar is going to be followed up onto the Drow. Relocating back in is Flash as Melee. He's still on the run. Relocating in, I believe. And, well, he's dead again anyway, so he buys back, relocates over towards mid, loses his life a second time. And Chicken Fighter is taking an easy fight that time, as everything seems to come through on this one.
Yeah, without buyback on the SF, it's just a free rage for the Stars side.
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
Take the shrine. They'll look over to take the tower. I don't even know if they want to back over to Roche just yet. Again, we saw their building damage is so fast. They could get through all this very quickly.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The building damage that they have and how quickly they go through. Like, we saw it earlier, too, when they went over bottom Gust.
But how do they initiate? Like, they don't have anybody that just goes into a fight. So that even though this Beastmaster gets low, he just walks away.
And they had already used telekinesis, so what's next?
It must be so frustrating to play. Because you're like, okay, well, we've got damage, but, like, we can't do anything
telekinesis? Get the kill on a Seneko, but that is just a support puck. They are over in a Roche. They've got the minus armor. The multi-shot will not get the kill onto Roche, but they might be able to get the kill on a Saberlight, and they do. He doesn't have buyback, but they've got the Static Storm as well as the Dream Coil on 2 of these heroes. Now they'll look for the Requiem. They'll take out Flash. The Fear is out on a Charlie. Now the chase is on. Telekinesis through onto the Magnus, and a good gust onto this Clink. So eat the cheese. He's taking a lot of damage very quickly. The BKB is going to be popped by Charlie. He'll lose that first life, and I don't know if Supreme feels like he's hitting hard enough because that Xantic's turning around and really pushing back this Clinks. That's the kill on a Storo. No fire finish. Skewer ends up missing. So does the Gust.
They have RP now, so Radiant have to be a little bit careful. Oh, there's a DD
another
again!
Wow, another double damage.
Seneko has no buyback here, so he has to be a little bit careful. I love how nobody has buyback except the Disruptor at the moment as well. They're all just,
Middle barracks are under
winging it.
attack.
TP over towards mid. Clean up these creeps. Again, that seemed like a bit of a split up fight from Chicken Fighters, and that's where they start to like lose their advantage, even though they're up by so much.
Yeah, it's really awkward though, right? Because the SF just stands there. He gets coiled, but he doesn't really care. Like, as long as the Omni Knight's behind him, who had the GA up, the Nullifier came out just as that fight ended. So if they'd have had the Nullifier in that fight, maybe it's a little bit different. And with the RP still being up here, I think the Dire should be trying to force things here.
Oh my god, look at the damage that just comes through immediately onto the Rubik. They've got the Telekinesis. The Relocate comes in from the Wisp, and now the Primal Roar as well as the Static Storm on the Shadow Fiend. Guardian Angel gets used. They've got the Nullifier on him. He's getting hit up hard. Purification saves his life, but Illusory Orb over, and they'll get the kill on Xantic. He doesn't have buyback. They'll look over at Khan. They've got themselves the Skewer as well as the RP. Drow ends up just getting blown up, and they'll lose him for 90 seconds. They look over at Flash. Should be another one that will get the kill. 3 heroes gone. They'll steal... There it is. Finally caught up to the Rubik. I was like, it's coming. Shockwave gets stolen. Supreme
Go on,
moving
Conclave.
forward, telekinesis, and thrown in to the well for a moment, but
Oh. I didn't even see them call GG.
I didn't see it either, but Chicken Fighters end up taking the game.
Obs definitely has somebody muted. That's what I'm saying. So.
Bad blood?